Good afternoon and welcome to the Midday News. Here's what we have in the bulletin. Family of mentally ill former inmate condemns Supreme Court's $120 million award, calling it an insult. In-drive taxi operator arrested in connection with kidnapping of UTech student charged with murder. And later in sports, day 2 of National Junior and Senior Championships underway at the National Stadium. Thank you for joining us. I'm Kerry Simpson. Here are the details. The family of George Williams has described as an insult the Supreme Court's award of $120 million to compensate for the 50 years he spent in custody without a trial. His niece says the ruling has failed to deliver real justice. Details in this report.
$120 million in damages. That's the amount the Supreme Court has ordered the government to pay George Williams, a mentally ill man who spent 50 years in custody without a trial. The government had previously offered $6 million, an amount his family rejected. Speaking on Power 106's Morning Agenda, Mr. Williams' niece and primary caregiver Pamela Green expressed frustration with the Supreme Court's ruling. She acknowledged that while there has been some measure of justice, she insists that the $120 million awarded is not enough.
I don't think it is enough, but, he might not live long enough for us to fight the battle for more. So, we'll just work with the offer that they gave us. Because we know the court system is, sometimes it's drawn out, so it will take forever.
When asked about George's condition, Ms. Green spoke with care about the lasting impact of his years in custody and his life now outside of prison.
You will take his bath, like several baths throughout the day. Sometimes we have to say, George, you don't need to bathe so many times. He just love water. Every time he bathe, he will wash his clothes. So, he's used to that, through the prison system. So, that thing is in him. But overall, as I said, he adjusts himself to the lifestyle and he is doing fine.
The judgment was handed down Thursday in a wrongful imprisonment lawsuit filed by Mr. Wright's attorney John Clark. George Williams was arrested on October 28, 1970 and charged with murder. When he appeared in court on March 25, 1971, a jury determined he was unfit to stand trial. He remained in custody until his release on July 24, 2020. Antonia Atkinson, TVJ News.
The in-drive taxi operator who was arrested in connection with the kidnapping of UTech student Anissa Dilworth has been charged with her murder. 29-year-old Jamar Grant, a resident of Bull Bay, was charged with the offenses of murder and kidnapping on Wednesday by the Portmore CIB. The charges were laid after DNA test results confirmed that the remains found near Fort Clarence Beach on May 17 were that of missing student 20-year-old Anissa Dilworth. Anissa was reported missing on May 7 after boarding an in-drive taxi on May 6. But the ride-sharing company said its records showed that her last ride using the app was in 2024 and the accused driver's account was created afterward. InDrive said based on the available data, there was no record indicating that the incident occurred during a trip arranged through the platform. Investigators, along with specialized units within the JCF, launched a probe into Miss Dilworth's disappearance. About 11:30 a.m. on May 17, police were alerted to the discovery of skeletal remains at the beach and went to investigate. Grant was taken into police custody for questioning. Opposition spokesman on health, Dr. Alfred Dawes, says the deaths of the 24 newborns this month at the Victoria Jubilee Hospital points to a deeper systematic failure in the care of newborns at the facility. Here's O'Shane Masters.
Shadow spokesman on health, Dr. Alfred Dawes, is demanding that Health and Wellness Minister, Dr. Christopher Tufton, release the full mortality data for the Victoria Jubilee Hospital from 2020 to present, as he suggested that deficiencies at the maternity hospital could have compromised the care of the babies. He rejected the explanation given by the Chief Medical Officer in the Ministry of Health, Dr. Jacqueline Besesa McKenzie.
Prematurity is a medical condition, not a cause of death. Victoria Jubilee continues to suffer from overcrowding, understaffing, and outdated infrastructure. There's a chronic lack of essential resources, including cooling blankets, ventilators, and proper parenteral nutrition for neonates. These deficiencies, combined with inadequate staffing, compromise the hospital's ability to manage high-risk pregnancies and provide life-saving neonatal care.
The health spokesman says reports indicate that there were 229 neonatal deaths at the hospital between October 2023 and June 2025. He has called for Dr. Tufton to confirm the accuracy of these figures. Meanwhile, Dr. Dawes says a spike in neonatal deaths and a high maternal mortality rate reflect a public health system in crisis.
Dr. Tufton must answer the following. How many neonatal deaths have occurred at VJH annually over the past 5 years? What has been done to improve these outcomes? What budget allocation was made to neonatal care? Was there a breakdown in infection control? And importantly, why was the public not informed sooner? Jamaicans deserve transparency and accountability. These were not statistics. These were children.
O'Shane Masters, TVJ News.
A game changer for the parish. That's how Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness has described the Port Antonio Bypass project. Ground was broken for the project on Thursday. From being the forgotten parish to being in full focus, Portland is being positioned to unlock its economic potential while being transformed into a modern hub of opportunity and growth with the construction of the Port Antonio Bypass project. Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness was at the groundbreaking ceremony.
Today marks the breaking of barriers that have long held back the full economic potential of this beautiful parish and people. And it represents the dawning of a new era of mobility, opportunity, and resilience for Portland. From the early days of our administration, we made a clear commitment to modernize Jamaica's infrastructure and ensure that no parish, no town, no community is left behind. The Port Antonio Bypass project is the latest expression of that commitment.
He says the project is an investment into Portland's growth, placing the parish literally and figuratively on the map of 21st century development. The 18-kilometer bypass will be executed in 2 phases in an effort to divert traffic from Port Antonio's congested coastal corridor.
This bypass is a strategic initiative with national importance. For decades, Port Antonio has been one of Jamaica's hidden gems, blessed with natural beauty and rich cultural heritage, but held back by limited access and inadequate infrastructure. The current route through the town centre, while scenic, adds to the traffic congestion in the town. As I said, it is vulnerable to flooding and coastal erosion, and it cannot accommodate the scale of development we envision for this area. The Port Antonio Bypass will solve this. The government of Jamaica has committed approximately $81 million for the construction of this project and another $521 million for land acquisition, with over 200 parcels to be acquired in phase 1 alone. The National Land Agency has already begun the acquisition process, ensuring that every affected landowner is treated with fairness and dignity under the provisions of the Land Acquisition Act.
In the meantime, Member of Parliament for East Portland Anne-Marie Vaz described the groundbreaking of the Port Antonio Bypass as an extension of the new era for Eastern Jamaica.
The economic activity, investment, development, and opportunities that will be created as a result of this project will have a meaningful impact on the lives of my East Portland family. This is what this government is investing in our town to make our quality of life better.
The Senate is expected to table a critical report today examining the care and protection of elderly persons in Jamaica. This following intense debate on Thursday surrounding the public's role in safeguarding the nation's aging population. One of the key points of contention during the debate was whether members of the public should bear a moral or legal obligation to report suspected abuse of elderly individuals.
All of those persons under that rubric has a duty of care in their employment or otherwise. But for any other person now that you are encouraging, me being a neighbor and I hear over next door that the elder person is bawling out and I don't know what they're bawling out for.
Right, there's
and
no
I don't
legal
report
obligation.
it. There's no obligation. But we are encouraging these persons by a duty of care to report. And that's it. So the challenge is to impose a penalty on them if they don't report.
While some senators advocated for stronger legal frameworks to ensure mandatory reporting, others warned that such measures could have unintended consequences if not carefully considered.
So we already have a legal obligation in relation to children, and the messaging from that is that we consider it such an important and serious crime that if we know of it, we have a legal duty to report it. Do we consider this in the same way? And I am inclined to say yes, based on the information that came before us.
It's time for a break. Stay with us, more stories when we return. Welcome back to the Midday News, and it's now time for the Business Minute.
First Global Bank has announced that it will retire several FGB MoneyLink agency banking services at specific GK1 locations across the island, effective July 31. The move is part of a bank's ongoing transformation strategy aimed at strengthening digital and self-service banking channels. The affected GK1 locations are in Portland, St. Mary, the corporate area, Trelawney, Westmoreland, and St. Elizabeth. FGB says the changes reflect a broader shift in customer preferences toward digital banking solutions and are designed to improve long-term service delivery and efficiency. Further afield, a mechanical glitch prompted in the recall of more than 70,000 BMWs. According to the National Highway Transportation Safety Administration, the electric drive motor software in these cars could shut down, resulting in a loss of drive power. The recall includes certain i4, i5, i7, and iX models. Officials say BMW dealers will fix the problem free of charge. And that's it for the Business Minute. I'm Shane Masters.
Thanks, Shane. And now the top regional and international stories.
In the region, Guyana is launching a single electronic identification system to boost border control and manage migrant issues. All citizens will get e-ID cards, while non-citizens must obtain residency cards with biometric data to access services like banking and employment. The system, delayed by integration issues, is expected to roll out within a year and will link to the national surveillance network. Migrants will be vetted, and failure to comply with ID system will result in sanctions. On the international scene, federal immigration agents detained at least 30 people during a raid at Buckeye Fire Equipment in Kings Mountain, North Carolina, as a part of an identity theft investigation. Initially, 17 people were reported in custody, but that number has since increased. ICE officials executed search warrants while around 300 employees were present, suspecting the use of stolen or false IDs for employment. No charges have been filed yet. Protesters gathered nearby, raising concerns about potential violations of workers' rights. And those were the top regional and international stories. I'm Antonia Atkinson.
And we head to a quick break. When we come back, we'll have your midday sports report.